Brought to you by the good folks at Handsome Dan's Dirtbag Deli, the rarely, the rarely given, most recently conceived Lifetime Achievement Award for Miss Excellence. And it's very crazy because today we were going to celebrate the uber excellence of the good hair product geniuses over at Stay So Fro, which is and they still going to get their award because them folks definitely do deserve it. But as time went on, it was something that eclipsed that, and this just proves that sometimes the apple falls so far from the tree that it rolls across the street through an intersection and gets smashed. Yeah, we're going back to the 1980s. That was another time when anything goes. Prince wore high heels and panties and sung to women and got them. Michael Jackson, who gonna factor into this, was literally larger than Jesus. It was a hell of a time. But for one artist in particular, in 1984, he would release an album that has the rare distinction of being one of the most one of the most non-sought after albums. Rare in that I'm not even sure 82 of them were pressed up globally. Also had the distinction of having a great hit on it. It wasn't quite number one, but it was number 15. It's oh man, abysmal. Don't it's miraculously horrible, amazingly deplorable. I don't know how many more metaphors I can use to show you the magnitude of oh wow. What I'm talking about is Somebody Must Be Watching Me by Rockwell. Now, Rockwell was also known as Kennedy Gordy. He was the sixth child of Barry Gordy. That is the tree that this apple fell from, and my God, did it fall. Apparently, in the summer of 1982, Kennedy had been kicked out of the Gordy house, the Gordy estates, and he began to stay with his Barry Gordy's ex-wife. I forget her name. But of course, in the spirit of nepotism and John David Washington's acting, Kennedy Gordy was working on music because he just knew he was going to make it. He knew he was going to make it. And while the lady, the ex-wife, was walking past the room one night, she heard him working on a song called Somebody's Watching Me. Now the irony is that nobody was watching him then, ever. I'm even sure that this video will get more views than he ever had for a song that featured fucking Michael Jackson on it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So this guy will go on to release 3 albums. I don't know where you can get them. Matter of fact, the album I'm speaking of just got picked up to streaming in 2021 from iTunes. But the first album was Somebody Was Watching Me. The second album is Captured, which is the sentiment that if you happen to have been listening to it, that's what he's done to you. He has captured your ass into listening to this. And by the time the third album that didn't even chart was just called Genie, where I just think the brother had gone off the deep end and was just really just hope it just was a wish, just hoping it's a wish. And the crazy thing is he released all of them from 1984, 1985 to 1986. Yes, that means every year this guy had back to back to back. I don't know what's the opposite of three-peat. I ain't sure, but that's definitely what Rockwell had. So, as the legend goes, the ex-wife, who was a part of the publishing company or something, she had Michael Jackson was coming into town for something, so they tricked Mike, and they get Mike to come to the studio. And if you ever hear this, and I'm sure you heard the song because, like I said, Mike was larger than Jesus right then. What Mike did was he put a hook on something that's so horrible that 35, almost 40 years later, it's banging because of the hook. And I don't even think Mike wanted no money from that. I think Mike really just wanted his name taken off the record for that. But I always feel like somebody watching me. Yo, when I tell you, first off, it's so much to unpack here. The song is about paranoia. And the album itself had, I don't know, maybe it had 9 joints on it. One day, me and my man just sat down and we went on YouTube and listened to the whole album and the things that come to videos. Yo, some people go for a theme of sexiness or they a super spy, a secret agent. Yo, this guy had like a trilogy of videos where he was literally stalked by a psychopath. Then it's open-ended like a Twilight Zone episode where maybe Rockwell himself is the psychopath, which clearly he's a sociopath for putting this shit out. But it wasn't just about the song with Michael Jackson that everybody knows. Of course, it's a whole album. Yo, you really have to go. You have never heard a power ballad that is as horrible as Knife. I swear to God, stop this, go to YouTube, type in Rockwell Knife. Do you know that the hook for the song says, knife, cuts like a knife? Yes, he repeated the word knife twice in the hook. It defied any type of description. Of course, it didn't chart anywhere, and that's even by 80 standards. But like I said, this album is so rare and simultaneously possibly the worst album recorded in history. I'm not even sure what I don't know if Rockwell even go by Rockwell anymore. I think he's back to being Kennedy Gordy now. But for those 3 summers, that boy continually put out product listen, if that boy was putting out dope, the police couldn't even lock him up because it would have no narcotic within it. This guy was putting out nothing but baby powder. Straight laxative. Straight. But Rockwell, for your efforts, for your Herculean efforts, like, it's not even mediocre. This shit is man, it's really worth your time to see. Jesus Christ, how bad can something be? And funny enough, when Barry Gordy heard it, first thing he said was, hey, I recognize a voice on there. And it wasn't his son. It wasn't even his son that he born and had living in the house with him. He recognized Michael. But man, you know, Rockwell gonna get 2 episodes because it is a lot to unpack here. But yeah, this superseded the good folks at Stay So Fro. So the Lifetime Achievement Award for Miss Excellence on the platform of opening your mouth and recording it, Rockwell, also known as Kennedy Gordy. We'll jump into part 2 a little bit later. Y'all be safe.